Brighton 0, Manchester United 0. Man United win it on penalties. Victor Lindelof with the deciding goal. I'm joined by Ste Howson. We're into a cup final against Manchester City for the first time. Ignore the 120 minutes because that was just diabolical and horrendous. How do you feel? Cup final, another cup final under Ten Hag.
Yeah, it's another cup final. And I think everyone will be like, oh, United have got stop City doing a treble. They're fucking second as it stands at the moment. And they've got to play reigning European champions at Real Madrid. So let's not pretend that they're an FA Cup shy of a treble because they're not. So they could be facing us where they've got to beat us to win the only trophy that they pick up this season. Now, I think they're probably going to win the league. So they could be looking at a domestic double. I think Real Madrid probably do them in the Champions League, though. But it's in terms of the entire buffet of what's on offer for between now and the City game, here's one thing for sure. It could be anything. It could be anything. And I find it hard to get too excited about being in a final. And I'm hating that at the moment. Honestly, I feel dirty by not celebrating and not really getting too excited, but I can't help how I feel. I feel I'm glad we've progressed, obviously. And I think we've got a chance, but I think we're massive underdogs. I can't, with a logical brain, sit here and tell you that Manchester United playing on fumes with a second string defence definitely beats Manchester City because that's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah, but on that, this is now, we've got almost 6 weeks until that game. So, there is a way, or hopefully there is a way, for Ten Hag and the team to make it that we don't have a second string defence, that we don't, we aren't playing on fumes. The rest of the squad have to be rotated and handled in such a way where, players are fresh. Martial has had a rest. Bruno has had a rest. Hopefully Varane will be back by then. It's just extended our season by just under 2 weeks. Players might be ready. Players might be fit. Surely there's enough time to try and, encourage and train people and get them to a state where they're ready to go against City. Or do you think, with the top four the way it is, that's not possible?
I think the result today where Newcastle absolutely dunked dick all over Spurs has done us a favour, because I think that's created a little, at least in my head, I've not even looked at it, but I think in my head it's created a little bit of separation between fourth and fifth. So yeah, I think that means that United could relatively balls it up between now and the end of the season and still finish at worst fourth, I think. Let me just have a quick gander.
Well, I'll tell you,
here.
so United are on 59, Newcastle on 59. We've played a game less. Tottenham are on 53 and they've played 2 games more than us. The team that can technically get the nearest to us if they win all their games is Brighton, who are currently 10 points behind us, but they've got a game in hand on us, so they can be 7. Same games played. They're the only ones who really, once it all levels itself out, if they win the games in hand and we do as well, they'll be the closest to us. But that's still 7 points behind, assuming they win that game in hand. So there is definitely a gap now, yeah.
Yeah, so I imagine the games that we've got just pick up like an average number of points and we'll probably be fine. I think we just pick up that average number of points. You get over the line, you finish in Champions League spots, hopefully third. And then, yeah, I give us a chance. It's an outside chance, but I think we have a chance. I certainly think that you're going to play on the counter with them. And I think Eric Ten Hag will learn. And I think how we played at home has to be the blueprint for how you beat them. And they're not unbeatable. And I also think Pep overthinks the fuck out of stuff in big games. And if he's on the cusp of a treble, if he's on the cusp of beating United to take one of those trophies, he's going to overthink the shit out of it. And I like that. I think he's fucking tinkering a bit too much.
It's tough though, isn't it? If we played tomorrow, not tomorrow because obviously United are knackered, but if let's say the cup final was next Sunday or Thursday, our next game was the cup final, I would give us almost no chance to win. But I feel like Ten Hag and his team, with just under 6 weeks to prepare and to sort of check the data, check the VO2 maxes, check Rashford's ankle, Bruno's ankle, Luke Shaw, whatever it is that he's not quite fit with. I think that we will build ourselves a fighting chance over the next 6 weeks. We've just got to hope that obviously nothing gets in the way of that. Just on a couple of the performances today. Victor Lindelof scored the match-winning penalty. For me, he was man of the match anyway. Who did you think was good in the 90 minutes or 120 minutes? Was anyone good? United sort of withstood Brighton rather than beating them or, dominating. Who do you think played well for United?
Yeah, Lindelof. I thought it was... Yeah. I think one of the tweets I saw was, look how good Lindelof is when he's not playing next to Maguire. And I kind of echo a little bit of that, in all honesty. And I think if you are playing Manchester City in the next game, can anyone make a case that Maguire starts over Luke Shaw? You're gonna have a similar sort of team in the way it's shaped up to what we saw against Brighton. It'll be very similar. They'll press in similar ways. They'll try and play in similar ways. Brighton are a lot more direct in the final third, but it'll be similar. And I think there'll be opportunities for you to play 1v1 on the halfway line. And I don't think you want Harry Maguire doing that. And I think Luke Shaw and Victor Lindelof, if I had to sort of sum up their performances, it was like composure. And I thought, even though they were under pressure, and they were under pressure, De Gea did have to make saves. That's what I would roll with. I don't know if the fullbacks are necessarily decided. More unlikely, I think. But even if you get Varane, a rusty Varane going up against Erling Haaland is not something that fills me with confidence, to be honest. If he can get a game or two under his belt, that's different, but I don't think he's getting a game or two under his belt. So, yeah, I think that there was good performances there. I thought Casemiro was pretty good. I just think it's hard to, like I said, I'm hating myself for doing it, but it's hard to sort of be deliriously happy. Oh my God, we're definitely going to win the FA Cup now. Because most of the time that we get in the FA Cup final, you go, yeah, look who we've had recently, like Chelsea, Crystal Palace. Like, we should go there and beat them. But I think everyone's a little bit PTSD'd by the dicking that we got off City early in the season. And not just that. If anyone watched that Bayern Munich game, because guess what? We're not Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich didn't lay a glove on them. No, they absolutely shagged them. And I think there's a good chance that they absolutely shag Arsenal on Wednesday night. So, no, you can be as optimistic as you like. If you've got any sense of realism about you, you can't sit here and go, United are winning this. We are the underdogs. But that's not to say that we don't go in there and we don't have a plan for them. And I think you get Marcus Rashford maybe gets a couple of nights off because he will be the key to us beating them. I think you've got a strong midfield. You can go toe-to-toe with the midfield, I think. You got the defence against their attack is a mismatch. But Marcus Rashford against whoever the fuck they decide to play in that position is a mismatch as well. And him on the ball, in behind, is United's genuine way to win that game. It could go very similar today, where you end up like one of those shots that he has that gets a deflection, ends up flying in. And that might be the game. That might be what it swings on. But you've got to go in there and try and keep a clean sheet. I mean, obviously, but that'll be the big kicker.
Exciting, isn't it? I'm so excited for that. It's 6 weeks away, but it feels like the season has actually got a focus now. There's something that, a sort of a point to this arrow, which is nice, because if we'd have lost today...
I fucking love the FA Cup. I fucking love the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Absolutely love the FA Cup. Do you know who's got the hardest fucking job for that game? Metropolitan Police.
Yeah, it's going to be insane, isn't it? Insane. I think people are just going to kick off just to make a point about it being the Manchester derby as well. I think there's so much going on in there. It's gonna, if United win, it'll kick off. If City win, it'll kick off even more. Like, there's no winning that if you're the Metropolitan Police. But hopefully,
I bet City sell their fucking allocation for this one, though, don't they?
Yeah, I bet they will. And if not, United fans will have it. Right, thank you for joining us, Steve. Steve will be back in, obviously, this week. You in for the brew on Friday as well?
Yeah, I was unsure because there's an event that I've been asked to go to, but I think I'll probably be in for it because I believe Scott is joining us to plug his book.
There you go. See, make sure you check that out. We've got all sorts coming up this week as well. And before that, the Tottenham game, the podcast tomorrow, everything you ever dreamed of. Make sure you stay tuned to Stretford Paddock. Manchester United are in the final of the FA Cup to face Manchester City. There's a job for Varane, a job for Lindelof, and a job for the Metropolitan Police, as Steve said right there. It's going to be a big one. We'll see you in a bit.